Welcome, mariners and non-mariners alike. Today we are delving into the nitty-gritty of COLREG Rule 9, one of the most critical guidelines when it comes to navigation and safety at sea. First things first, what is a narrow channel? According to the Convention on the International Regulations for Preventing Collisions at Sea, a narrow channel is a seaway that is not wide enough for vessels to navigate freely side by side. It also speaks to depth as well. Both depth and width create the navigational hazard that require Rule 9. In a nutshell, it's like a narrow two-way street but for boats, and just as you'd expect, it comes with its own traffic rules. Now, the international and inland rules for these narrow channels differ slightly, and that's what we're here to unpack. Starting with the international rules, Rule 9 has 7 parts, from A to G. Let's break them down. Rule 9A states that a vessel proceeding along the course of a narrow channel or fairway should keep as near to the outer limit of the channel, which lies on her starboard side, as is safe and practicable. Think of this as the equivalent of keep right rule on the road. Rule 9B urges all vessels to avoid anchoring in a narrow channel, a fairway, or a traffic separation scheme except in an emergency. Rule 9C is about fishing. It states that a vessel engaged in fishing shall not impede the passage of any other vessel navigating within a narrow channel or fairway. Rule 9D advises vessels of less than 20 meters in length or sailing vessels not to impede the safe passage of a power-driven vessel that can safely navigate only within a narrow channel or fairway. Obviously, smaller vessels and sailboats are able to maneuver and thus should not impede the larger vessels. Rule 9E urges all vessels in a narrow channel or fairway to avoid endangering other vessels. In this section, if the vessel being passed or overtaken must maneuver to make room, then both vessels must operate in a manner to keep their vessels safe while passing. Rule 9F concerns crossing. It states that a vessel shall, so far as practicable, avoid crossing a narrow channel or fairway. If crossing is unavoidable, it should never be done if it impedes vessels that can only navigate safely in the channel. Last but not least, Rule 9G states that a vessel nearing a bend or an area of a narrow channel or fairway, where other vessels may be obscured by an intervening obstruction, should navigate with caution and sound one prolonged blast of its whistle to notify other vessels of its approach. Now, how do these rules differ inland? Well, the inland navigation rules, while similar to the international rules in some areas, have some notable differences. For example, Rule 9A, which talks about keeping to the starboard side. But note, larger vessels entering and exiting ports via narrow channels may be directed by vessel traffic control or port authorities to follow specific directions. Inland rules also talks to western rivers and the Great Lakes. Western rivers are those that feed into and include the Mississippi River system. On these rivers, a vessel with a following current shall have the right-of-way over an upbound vessel, and shall dictate the manner and location of passage, as well as initiating sound signals. This is because a downbound vessel has far less maneuvering capability than a vessel heading into the current. When it comes to signaling, international rules state that a vessel may signal danger if it doubts another vessel's intentions. But the inland rules specifically state that the danger signal must be used if a power-driven vessel is crossing a narrow channel or fairway, and the larger ship in the channel doubts the intentions of the crossing vessel. In summary, while the international and inland rules for navigating narrow channels share a lot of common ground, there are some key differences. The inland rules include the Great Lakes on the United States side of the lakes, the Mississippi River systems and its tributaries, and demand the danger signal be used if the vessel, which can only navigate safely in the narrow channel, is concerned or does not feel a crossing vessel is operating in a safe manner. Whether you're a seasoned mariner or just interested in maritime regulations, understanding these rules, and specifically Rule 9, is essential. So, the next time you find yourself near a narrow channel, remember to keep to the starboard side, avoid anchoring or fishing if it could impede others, and always signal your intentions. Safe travels.